of business. And I am going to start with Gaur Gopal Das ji. So if you could take the microphone, sir, and kickstart.
Thank you very much, Shivi. It's my great pleasure, privilege and honor to be here. And at the very outset, I want to thank the Z Group, Shriyanshi, Goenka ji, Vikram Sampath for having me over. And honored to be in the midst of such an esteemed panel with Dr. Subhash Chandra ji, Lord Meghnad Desai, Rajiv Srivastava ji, and of course moderated by Shireen Bhan, whom I just closely interacted with at the CNBC Indian Business Leaders Award. As was mentioned earlier, India has a very rich heritage, a very rich culture, a very rich value system. And when we talk about dharmic capitalism, dharma here in India emphasizes on two very essential principles. One of the principles is to learn to be satisfied. When it comes to your personal self, on a personal front, one needs to learn how to be satisfied, minimize the unnecessary necessities. Like Jim Carrey once said, people these days, they buy the things that they don't need with the money that they don't have to impress the people whom they anyways don't like. It's kind of hilarious, but that's really what it is. And a world of unnecessary necessity. So, snowballing from the culture of India, you have a global phenomena called minimalism that has started, where people want to look at, can there be a possibility of living a life of fulfillment with the minimum? Now it's a great concept when Dharma teaches you about satisfaction, that be satisfied on a personal front. That satisfaction on a personal front can be disastrous on a social front. In your own personal life you can be satisfied, but when it comes to social growth, when it comes to financial growth of the country and globally as well, I'm not too sure if satisfaction is a great principle, which is where Dharma then brings in the second dimension, which is dissatisfaction. Imagine if people who have good character remain satisfied saying, I don't want to have more, the resources go to the hands of the people who have wrong character. Even imagine if people who have the right value system are dissatisfied saying, I don't need much, I don't need to do more, the resources go to the hands of the people who have the wrong kind of value system. And when you have people who hold resources without a good character, without the right value system, all you have is narcissism and destructive elements in the society. Which is why, when we talk of dharmic capitalism, we talk about dharma here telling us that you don't be satisfied on a social front. On a personal front, you can be absolutely satisfied. Minimalism is an outcome of personal satisfaction. But on a social front, don't be satisfied. Be passionate. Dharma doesn't stop us from being passionate. Passionate to grow. Satisfaction is the greatest enemy of growth. Satisfaction is the greatest value addition to our personal life. But satisfaction is the greatest enemy for growth. Imagine good people remaining satisfied, there's no growth. And when there's no growth, there's no contribution. There's no value addition. So which is why I very strongly believe that the cultural heritage of this country, dharma of this nation, tells us, be passionate. हिंदी में हम कई बार कहते हैं अपने पैशन को कम करने की जरूरत नहीं है. The Hindi कम passion. Passion को कम मत कीजिए. Our dharma add the English compassion. So when we turn our passion to compassion, I think that's dharmic capitalism. Dharma doesn't stop us from being passionate about growth. Dharma teaches us how can we turn our passion into compassion. A classic example, I don't want to give it a religious flavor of calling it a history, calling it mythology, calling it religion, calling it spirituality. But if we look at the Mahabharata, you have the gentlemen, the Pandavas, who are wanting to remain satisfied in themselves. And Krishna said, no, be dissatisfied, be passionate, because good cannot be done unless the resources are in good hands. And it has to move beyond CSR. CSR is the beginning. CSR is the beginning, for sure. So which is why when you add to passion, dharma, it becomes compassion. My second understanding of dharmic capitalism is this. You know, you have these oxymorons,
Yes.
like two opposite words, one very like impact, like you say she's pretty ugly, you know. Or in the modern day you say he's a sincere student. Seems like an oxymoron these days, sincere and stupid. Or like you would say, can you please give me an exact estimate? How do you give an exact estimate? Or you say, can you please give me an original copy of it? But the funniest oxymoron is happily married. I mean, I'm just joking about it. But I think there's a funnier oxymoron than that. A funnier oxymoron than that is business ethics. These days, business ethics has become an oxymoron.
Yes.
So when we talk about dharmic capitalism, we talk about earning with integrity.
Yes.
One thing that's lacking badly in the world of business is integrity. You have a Malia, you have a Nirav Modi, and we can keep going in the number of scams. When we talk about going outside the scope of integrity, it turns into corporate greed, it turns into corruption, which is when we add to our desire to have integrity, then that's dharmic capitalism. And finally, the third element that I feel dharmic capitalism is about is sensitivity. It's easy to do CSR with a cut for yourself also in the organization. Win-win, right? Some goes to the guy who's taking the benefit, some stays with you. So it's good to do that. But I strongly and firmly believe, can we be earning at the cost of people who bring it for us? People who give us our blood, their sweat, their tears, their commitment, their everything. What about them? People, I don't think, have a problem that you have more. People have a visceral hatred. Visceral hatred when you do it at their cost. Like one guy, a boss in a company, he came in a fancy Bentley and the subordinate opened the door for him and he said to his boss, "Sir, what a car, man, cool, The boss said, "Well, fantastic. He told the subordinate, if you work really hard, if you give your 200% at work 7 days a week, do overtime, and give your complete self to your work, next year I can buy a better car than this." Now, I don't think people have a problem you having. I don't think people have a problem with business houses having. Are we doing it with sensitivity to our people? Are we doing it with sensitivity to our customers and clients?
Yeah.
Are we giving the best of what we could give them for the price we have taken, or are we holding back so that we can make greater profits? And are we doing justice to the shareholders?
Yeah.
So I think when we add sensitivity to our business, that's dharmic capitalism. But dharmic capitalism for me is turning passion into compassion. Dharmic capitalism for me is adding integrity to how we earn. And dharmic capitalism for me is how we can be sensitive to the people who are with us, to our customers, clients, and shareholders.
Whether that is dharmic capitalism or
Conscious,
or
responsible,
in essence capitalism, because as you said, it stems from
Absolutely.
integrity, it stems from running your business with the right practices,
Absolutely.
with ethics.
Absolutely.
And I know Lord Meghna Desai hates attaching adjectives to capitalism, but on the basis of what you just heard here from Gaur Gopal Das, the need for India to look at new models, new business models. In India, we've got a long tradition of models of distributed ownership, the Amul model, for instance, and this has happened at scale. When we're talking about new models and not a one-size-fits-all approach that actually addresses the problems that India